What's up, YouTube? Today we're cooking up a mock draft. March Madness just completed. Shout out to Michigan. It was a great March Madness, and the best team did win. Defense wins championships. And you're going to see in this draft, I do have 3 Michigan Wolverines in the first round, guys. So Arizona was my pick to win the national championship, but Michigan was my second pick. I thought whoever won that Arizona-Michigan game was going to go on to win the national championship. And of course, Michigan did dominate the Arizona Wildcats in that game. Well-deserved national championship for the Michigan Wolverines. Shout out to Ade Mara, Morez Johnson Jr., Elliot Cadeau, Yaxel Lindeborg, of course, being an absolute warrior going out there and playing on a hurt leg. Shout out to him, and shout out to the Michigan Wolverines. But for this mock draft simulator, guys, the Washington Wizards do hold the first pick. Sort of an interesting situation here because they did acquire Trae Young and Anthony Davis at the deadline. I do think this is, a pretty solid roster. I do think they are a playoff team going into next season. Very, very interesting team, though, guys. This is not updated. Cam Whitmore is no longer on the squad, and I don't think Satoransky is either. But going over some of the young core, I really like the Washington Wizards and them moving forward. But they are a bit of a tricky situation because I don't think they absolutely need anything like positional. Like, I think their starting lineup is pretty much set. Trae Young at the 1, of course. You got Trey Johnson at the 2, Keyshawn George at the 3, Anthony Davis at the 4, and of course Alex Sarr at the 5. So sort of an interesting dynamic here. I don't know. I think they probably just go best player available. AJ Dybantsa. To me, guys, Darren Peterson, Cameron Boozer, AJ Dybantsa, and Caleb Wilson, they're a big 4 in my opinion. I kind of group them all in the same tier. Yes, I am that high on Caleb Wilson. I think there's an absolute number 1 prospect. I think it really is just going to come down to the top 4 is really going to come down to fit, honestly, because I don't know if there's a best player available here, guys. I don't think there's an absolute undisputed number 1 prospect in this class. If I had to pick one, though, it would be AJ Dybantsa, guys. So I am going to go ahead and pick AJ Dybantsa with the number 1 overall pick to the Washington Wizards, guys. So AJ Dybantsa joins a stacked young core with the Washington, and I expect Washington to, be competing for a top 6 seed in the Eastern Conference next season. So they're going to take the talented forward AJ Dybantsa with the number 1 overall pick, of course. Now, the Indiana Pacers, super interesting because I think they're, going to be, again, a playoff team going into next season. Obviously, they're sitting at the bottom of the standings. I think they're 14th or 15th in the Eastern Conference right now. But obviously, it's a good roster, especially when Tyrese Halliburton comes back. That's an All-NBA performer. You still got an All-NBA, performer in Pascal Siakam as well. He was an All-Star this year. And then they did add Ivica Zubac at the deadline. So if you guys don't know, this pick needs to land in the top 4. If it lands outside of the top 4, it goes to the LA Clippers with this Ivica Zubac for Benedict Mathurin swap. So yeah, if this pick does not land in the top 4, it doesn't go to Indiana. It goes to the LA Clippers. I think the Pacers view this as a top 4 draft in Darren Peterson, Cameron Boozer, Caleb Wilson, and of course AJ Dybantsa. Not sure I agree with that. I think this is a really, really loaded class, but I do think those 4 are on a tier of their own. A really scary backcourt going into the future. Of course, we got to see how Halliburton bounces back from that Achilles injury, but the way Jason Tatum is playing right now, I have no negative thoughts about Tyrese Halliburton coming back and being that all-star player. I'm going to go Darren Peterson, number 2, to the Indiana Pacers. I love that fit so much. But I definitely do. I wasn't a big fan of that Zubac trade just because, I still think the 5th pick in this draft or even a top 10 pick in this draft will be super, super valuable. But Zubac, of course, is, a top 10 center in the league in my opinion. But you still got guys like Andrew Nembhard as well, who's having a career year. Aaron Nesmith, I like a lot. Jarris Walker, who you drafted a few years ago. You got solid role players on this team. Of course, TJ McConnell, Obi Toppin. But this is super interesting here, guys. But I really love the thought of a Tyrese Halliburton and Darren Peterson backcourt, guys. Darren Peterson, to me, has the off-ball skills of like a Devin Booker. I think he's one of the best off-ball 2-guard prospects of all time. And you pair him up with a guy like Tyrese Halliburton. Now with the 3rd overall pick, we have the Brooklyn Nets. Another interesting situation here because they did draft 5 players in the first round last year. And honestly, I got to say, I'm not sure I like any of those picks that they made. I thought they reached for a lot of those players. Danny Wolf is showing something, kind of, I guess. They're on a bad team, though, so they have to really show something on that team. This is probably the worst roster in the entire league, in my opinion. Michael Porter Jr., I like a lot. I thought he should have been an all-star. But outside of Michael Porter Jr. and Nick Claxton, guys, they don't have too much going for them. Of course, you know, you drafted Yegor Demon. He is out with the season-ending injury. I don't know. They took him with the 8th pick. Not sure he was top 8 talent in last year's draft, but I don't know, guys. Not too sold on their young core. Drake Powell, I like, but I'm not sure he's going to progress into like a star player or anything. Ben Seraph, again, not too high on him. And then Nolan Traore was the other guy they drafted. He's shown some pretty good things in certain minutes, but I don't know if he's like a long-term guy. I'm not too sold on the Brooklyn Nets young core right now. They just need some talent, guys, and I think Cam Boozer is the guy. I think you pair Cam Boozer up with Nick Claxton. That's a really good front court to move going forward. I really like that front court of Nick Claxton and Cam Boozer. I would really like it if you pair Cam Boozer up with Nick Claxton. You have 3 in Michael Porter Jr., you got a 4 in Cameron Boozer, and then you got a 5 in Nick Claxton, and then obviously you drafted a boatload of guards, so hopefully one of them pans out in Nolan Traore. Yegor Demon is probably going to be the guy. So yeah, guys, I'm going to go Cam Boozer, number 3 to the Brooklyn Nets. I really like that a lot. I know a lot of people are kind of comparing Cam Boozer right now to like a Marvin Bagley. I think people have good reason to kind of honestly be lower on Cam Boozer, especially as a scorer on the next level. But guys, this guy is a skilled rebounder. He's a really good shooter. I think he's going to be perfectly fine for Cam Boozer. I don't think, he's going to be as good as some other rookies like an AJ DeBancer or Darren Peterson. I don't really think he has that rookie of the year pop. Like, I wouldn't bet on him to win rookie of the year because I don't think the scoring is going to be quite there right away. But I'm not saying Cam Boozer won't be an all-star at all moving forward. But I do think his offensive game is not as prolific as like a Darren Peterson or AJ DeBancer. Now with the 4th pick, we have the Utah Jazz, guys. Another weird situation because I would probably take Caleb Wilson here because I think he's the best player available. But they traded for Jaren Jackson Jr. They kind of have a loaded front court in Lauri Markkanen and Jaren Jackson Jr. And then Walker Kessler, of course, who I like a lot, has really been in trade talks the past few years, which I don't quite understand. He's a young big man. I don't know why the Utah Jazz don't really see him as like a long-term cornerstone. I don't know. It's pretty weird. But guys, I just don't know how you pass on Caleb Wilson. Maybe you move off of like a Lauri Markkanen. But I really don't see how you pass on a Caleb Wilson. Maybe for like a Darius Acuff Jr. here. But you do have Keontae George as well. Isaiah Collier I like a lot. Ace Bailey, who you drafted last year. Of course, he's a forward. But just going over some of the talent on this roster. And then Cody Williams, guys, he had one of the worst rookie seasons ever, but quietly he's been very good in the past few games. But guys, I just don't see how you pass on Caleb Wilson. I think they take Caleb Wilson and then maybe you move off of like a Lauri Markkanen at the trade deadline. I just don't see how you're going to pass on a talent like Caleb Wilson. I just don't see it, guys. Now we have the Sacramento Kings, guys. If you guys have been following me on Twitter, LeBaron Philon, to me personally, is PG1 in this draft. I don't see Darren Peterson as a 1. I know some people do. I think he's more of a shooting guard prospect, by the way. So I'm not counting him as a point guard. But it's between Darius Acuff Jr. and LeBaron Philon. But this is not what I would do. This is what I think is going to happen. So Darius Acuff to the Kings makes a lot of sense to me. They need, their guard play is just terrible. I think it's Russell Westbrook. Devin Carter, I'm not a Devin Carter guy. He was drafted sort of to be like that sniper coming out of Providence. But he just has not been that. Has battled some injury as well. But the guard play on this team is absolutely awful. But you do have some good front court players who you drafted. Maxime Reneau and Dylan Cardwell are really showing to be really good young players who you can move forward with. I really like Maxime Reneau especially. And Dylan Cardwell has really showed a lot the past few games. He's been getting a lot of minutes now. And I really like what I see from him. But guys, I think this is a team that really lacks guard play. And I'm going to go Darius Acuff Jr. to the Sacramento Kings. Now we have the Atlanta Hawks. They're sitting at the 5th seed. They're playing some really good basketball right now. This pick is from the New Orleans Pelicans, who traded up to select Derek Queen after they drafted Jeremiah Fears. I don't know about that trade. Derek Queen is getting some DMPs now. It's really looking bad for New Orleans in that trade. But this is a team, to me, this is clearly a point guard pick. Obviously, you have a pretty loaded front court now with Jalen Johnson, Kuminga, who can play that 4 spot. I view him more as a 3, though. And then you have Onyeka Okongwu, of course. You drafted Asa Newell last year. This is a really, really good team. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, guys, is emerging. I think he's a star player now. He's definitely going to win Most Improved Player. Of course, Dyson Daniels, who was the Most Improved Player last year. So they could have back-to-back Most Improved Players. And then Zachary Risacher, who you drafted 2 years ago with the number 1 overall pick. This is a really, really good team, and I really like this Atlanta Hawks team. But I don't really see Dyson Daniels as a point guard. I see him as more of a two guard. Although he really has played that role pretty well, I gotta say. This is a team that needs a true point guard. I think LeBaron Philon, guys, I think he's going to go higher than a lot of people are expecting. I don't know, guys. Mikal Brown not playing in March Madness is really tanking his stock. I think, me personally, I just don't see Mikal Brown going within the top 7 right now, just because not playing in March Madness, in my opinion, really just hurts your stock. And I think LeBaron Philon really balled out for Alabama. Really like what I see with LeBaron Philon. I'm going LeBaron Philon with the 7th pick to the Atlanta Hawks, guys. Now, with the 7th overall pick, we have the Memphis Grizzlies. Do they select a point guard? Because Ja Morant, obviously you got the off the court stuff, but now he's battling like health issues. I really like Zach Edey as your cornerstone centerpiece right now. Cedric Howard, I like a lot. This is a really good team. Jalen Wells obviously had that scary injury last year. You traded for Taylor Hendricks, who was a lottery pick with the Utah Jazz. You got Gigi Jackson, who seemed to be like a late round steal. You signed Ty Jerome, who's probably on one of the best contracts in the NBA. Walter Clayton Jr., of course, national champion. Javon Small. He's small, guys, but he's a really, really good player. I like the Memphis Grizzlies. I think they're really lacking wing play, though. And I'm really high on this guy, probably higher than a lot of people. But Dylan Swain, guys, I know he's sort of an upperclassman. He's a junior. This guy has the goods. Dylan Swain, if you didn't watch him in March Madness, obviously a transfer from Xavier. I really, really like Dylan Swain. He's a do-it-all wing. I think this is really what this team is lacking. I think he's going to go higher than a lot of people are expecting. I would bet he's going to be a lottery pick. Maybe not this early, but I'm really, really high on this guy. I'm going Dylan Swain to the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, with the 8th overall pick, we have the Dallas Mavericks. I don't know why. I just, for some reason, think the Dallas Mavericks are going to land a top 4 pick. I really think the NBA and Adam Silver is going to want to get another franchise cornerstone for Cooper Flag, kind of like they did with the Spurs, getting him Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle in back-to-back years. I just have a feeling Cooper Flag is going to get Darren Peterson on his team or something like that. Come back to this video and I told you so. I just think it's going to happen. I don't think they're going to fall all the way to the 8th pick. But in the event that they do, I think this is a Kingston Flemings pick. I really would like to see Kingston Flemings. I'm not as high on him as a lot of people are, honestly. I think a lot of people had him penciled in as the 5th best player in this draft. I just don't see that to be the case. Has a really weird shot diet. It's like a lot of mid-ranges. I don't think he took any threes in like his final 2 March Madness games. I don't know, guys. Maybe I'm too low on Kingston Flemings, but he's going with the 8th overall pick to the Dallas Mavericks. Now, with the 9th overall pick, I know a lot of people expect this to be a center. I still might go center here, but I honestly am not really liking the Bulls. I know they have a lot of guards, but that doesn't mean they have a lot of good guards. And I don't think they should shy away from maybe drafting a Keaton Wagler here or a Mikal Brown. The guards on this team, just because they have a lot, that doesn't mean any of these guys need to stay on the roster or need to be here long term. I think they should go best player available. This team really lacks talent here. And guys, I think Keaton Wagler is a pick. You keep him here in Illinois. I don't think that's a bad option at all, of course. Mikal Brown, but a guy who really has bursted onto the scene throughout March Madness, Ade Mara, guys. This could be a pick here for the Chicago Bulls, and I would not hate it. Ade Mara, to me, is a top 10 player in this draft. I think as time goes on, I do a little bit more, watching the film and stuff. I think he could end up as the 5th best. I think he can jump up all the way to 5 on my big board right now. This guy is an absolute monster. He takes away the paint. If he somehow develops a jump shot, he's going to be so good. I got to watch what I say. I was going to say, all-time great. But guys, this guy has the goods. Ade Mara to the Chicago Bulls. I'm taking him, guys. I know he's an upperclassman, and the Bulls are not really in win-now mode, but I don't care. I think if you have the chance to draft a 7'3" Spanish big man, he's only 21 years old, will be 22 by the time draft time comes. But guys, Ade Mara to the Chicago Bulls, I love the fit. This is a team that really lacks center position. I think he's going to be your center for the next 10 to 12 years. Now, the Milwaukee Bucks, I don't know what's going to happen with Giannis. There's a lot of weird tension going around with Giannis and the Bucks. Miles Turner and Giannis Antetokounmpo, of course. Kevin Porter Jr. quietly had a solid year. Ryan Rollins, of course, in that most improved player discussion. But this is a team, to me, that needs a point guard, and they really lack guard play. Keaton Wagler really intrigues me, but I don't know why. I think he projects more as the shooting guard position. I think you pair him up with an already elite point guard. I'm going to go Mikel Brown Jr. I think he projects to be more of that true point guard, which the Bucks really need. I'm going Mikel Brown Jr. to the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, with the 11th pick, I think this is a perfect fit for Stephen Curry. Keaton Wagler with Stephen Curry, I would like a lot. I'm going Keaton Wagler to the Golden State Warriors, can sort of be that guard after Steph. I think Keaton Wagler is a really, really good player, guys. I'll be honest, I wasn't as high until after the tournament and what he showed me, but this guy he's legit. He's a really legit guy. 6'6" combo guard, of course. Now, with the 12th overall pick, I really like the Portland Trailblazers roster, and people are sleeping on them. They're going to make the play-in this year. I think they're going to win that first play-in game and beat the Golden State Warriors, and then they would have to play the winner of the Suns and Clippers. I think they can beat either one of those teams, honestly. But this is a team that's getting an all-star back, and Damian Lillard, of course, battling that Achilles, but the way players are coming back, like Jason Tatum, really gives me a lot of hope in Damian Lillard and guys like, Tyrese Halliburton to come back from that injury. I want people to just think about this. Next year, they're going to have a lineup of Damian Lillard, Drew Holiday, Deni Avdija, Toumani Camara, and Donovan Clingan. That's a hell of a starting lineup. And then off the bench, of course, you got a guy like Shaedon Sharpe, Scoot Henderson, Jeremy Grant. Like, this is Robert Williams. This is a really good team, and I don't think a lot of people are really projecting them, but I think this can be a top 6 team in the West next year. And don't sleep on this, guys. I think this is a team that can get a Kawhi Leonard this offseason. Do not sleep on the Portland Trailblazers. I think this is a team that could trade for Kawhi Leonard. I think Kawhi Leonard wants to stay on the West Coast, and people are not seeing it yet, but Kawhi Leonard on the Portland Trailblazers, I think, is a real possibility this offseason. But anyways, this is a team, to me, I don't think they need guard play. They have really good guard play. Of course, you're getting Damian Lillard back. You got Drew Holiday. You got Shaedon Sharpe and Scoot Henderson. So I don't think this is a guard pick for me. I think this is a team that really could use the wing play of a Yaxel Lendeborg. And I would love Yaxel Lendeborg in a win-now team like a Portland Trailblazers. I'm going Yaxel Lendeborg to the Portland Trailblazers. It makes too much sense. You get an upperclassman, a guy who's going to come in and instantly be serviceable role player. I think he's going to be an amazing player for this Portland Trailblazers team, and I love this fit with him. Now we got the Miami Heat. This is a team, Kasparas Giannakis, who they drafted last year, started off a bit slow, but as of lately, he's really been coming on and showing why they drafted him in the lottery. Actually, no, he was not a lottery. He slid in the draft. I think he was like the 18th pick. But this is why they spent a first-round pick on a guy like Kasparas Giannakis. But this is a team, to me, this is a wing pick for me. Nate Ament, Koa Pate would be solid here, but Nate Ament, guys, he's only a freshman. Some people are comparing him to like a Kevin Durant. I think that's quite outrageous because Kevin Durant was a lot better as a college player, as a prospect, of course. I think those Kevin Durant comparisons are quite ridiculous. But this pick needs to be wing here. Kareem Lopez out of Mexico, who played this season with the New Zealand Breakers. Same league LaMelo Ball played in. Kareem Lopez is a pick to me. I think that this guy could be a lottery pick. Braden Burries wouldn't be bad as well. Braden Burries kind of reminds me of Derek White. I know he didn't have a good Final Four game, and maybe that tanks his stock a little bit. I don't think it should too much. But this, to me, should be a wing pick here. I'm going to go Nate Ament to the Miami Heat with the 13th overall pick. Now, with the 14th overall pick, we have the Memphis Grizzlies. Of course, they drafted Dylan Swain earlier with the 7th pick. This pick here, this is from the Orlando Magic with the Desmond Bane trade, I believe. I think that's how they got this. This pick, to me, should be guard. And there's some pretty good guards on the board. I really like Tyler Tanner, although he's undersized. Christian Anderson, I like a lot as well. And then Bennett Sturts, I think he's going to come in and be a really serviceable player. Braden Burry still being on the board, though, is absolutely crazy. Braylon Mullins, a lot of people project him to be just a spot-up shooter. I think he's a lot more than that, and I think he showed that tonight in this national championship. He's a really good player. I think he's going to be a good defender in the league as well. He does so much more than just shoot, and I think people are not quite realizing that yet, but I think when they turn on the tape, they're going to see that he does much more than just shoot, sort of like a Con Kneppel. I'm going Braden Burries, though, to the Memphis Grizzlies. I would really love this for Memphis. You get a guy like Dylan Swain, who I think is going to come in and be that Swiss Army knife guy, and then Braden Burries. Like I said, you compare a guy like Braden Burries with a Ja Morant, like a Derek White level player. I would absolutely love these picks for Memphis. The Oklahoma City Thunder, they don't need any more talent, but they have the 15th overall pick. I think this is probably a front court player, although Jalen Williams, when Chet Holmgren was out and Isaiah Hartenstein was out, Jalen Williams was putting up like triple doubles, which is honestly crazy to see. But I don't know if this should be a center pick because I think Chet Holmgren is going to move to the center position sooner than a lot of people are maybe thinking, but they did draft Thomas Sorber from Georgetown last year, who I liked a lot as a prospect, so I don't think this has to be a front court pick, but I think this is most likely going to be that. And I'm going to go Haynes Steinbach out of Washington. I really like Haynes Steinbach, 6'11", really, really good rebounder. Haynes Steinbach has the goods. I'm going Haynes Steinbach to the Oklahoma City Thunder with that 15th overall pick. Now the Charlotte Hornets, this is another team who's probably going to make the playoffs this year. I think they're going to get that 7-8 play in and then probably win that game. But Moussa Diabate has really showed a lot. Honestly, I didn't really know what to expect going into this year. Moussa Diabate, I didn't think he was going to be their starting center. I thought it was going to be Ryan Kalkbrenner, who they drafted with the first pick in the second round. But this is a really, really good team. Of course, LaMelo Ball would probably have the Rookie of the Year in Conca-Nepal. Brandon Miller, of course. Miles Bridges. Miles Bridges, to me, though, is kind of like a player who I think they're going to start winning after they move off from him. And I think they're going to move off of Miles Bridges this offseason. To be quite honest with you, I think this is a guy sort of like the dynasty starts after you kind of guy. And I think Miles Bridges is going to be kind of that odd man out. So I think they're going to go ahead and replace Miles Bridges. And I think they're going to go ahead and replace him with a guy like a Morez Johnson. Shout out to him, national champion. Sophomore out of Michigan. Morris Johnson Jr. reminds me a lot of like an Isaiah Stewart, and I would love to see him with the Charlotte Hornets. I'm going Morris Johnson to the Charlotte Hornets. With the 17th pick, Jaden Quaintance falls to the Toronto Raptors. This is a team that has been needing a big man for the last like 3 years. Jakob Poeltl, I think he's a serviceable center. I don't know if he's a starting level center to me. I think he's a bottom tier starting level center. I'm going Jaden Quaintance out of Kentucky to the Toronto Raptors. If he's on the board, I don't see how they don't take him. Patrick Nongba is another good player there. I think it's between Quaintance and Patrick Nongba, but I'm going Jaden Quaintance to the Toronto Raptors. Now the Oklahoma City Thunder have another pick, of course, from the Philadelphia 76ers. Braylon Mullins still being on the board is absolutely crazy. I think he falls into their lap. Braylon Mullins to the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think Isaiah Joe, I think they like what they see from AJ Mitchell. Aaron Wiggins, I think, is going to be probably moved this offseason. Nikola Topic, not sure what's going to happen with him, but I really hope he gets the shot play there. But I don't think it's going to be with Oklahoma City. But I'm going Braylon Mullins to the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think he's the perfect win-now player for a contender. Braylon Mullins goes to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, the Charlotte Hornets are on the board again. Of course, we took Morris Johnson 3 picks ago, and this is probably going to be a guard pick. I'm going to go serviceable here, and I think Bennett Sturts is the perfect win now player for what the Charlotte Hornets are trying to do. I really like the Charlotte Hornets roster, and I think you get 2 win now players in Morris Johnson and Bennett Sturts. I would like that so much. Bennett Sturts, you pair him up with LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, Conca-Nepal. Really, really good core moving forward. Now, with the 20th overall pick, really was hoping Morez Johnson Jr. would be here because I love the fit with Morez Johnson Jr. and Wemby, but he's not going to be on the board with the 20th overall pick here. Koa Pate wouldn't be bad next to Wemby as well. Koa Pate seems like a San Antonio Spurs player, honestly. Thomas Howe as well has kind of dropped down on my big board. I had him as a top 25 player, but he's sort of fallen. I think he's going to fall towards the end of the first round now. A lot of people had him as a lottery pick starting off the year, but I don't think he's going to be quite that. I'm going Koa Pate, guys. Koa Pate I think he's the perfect fit for the San Antonio Spurs. He does everything at an exceptional level except shoot the basketball. I'm hoping he can progress and become a knockdown shooter. Has a pretty solid mid-range, so he has the foundation to be a solid jump shooter in the league, but he's just not there yet. He's only a freshman, though, 18 or 19 years old. He's 19 years old, though, guys. You got to give him some time. But Koa Pate, the San Antonio Spurs. With the 21st overall pick, we have the Detroit Pistons. This is a team, guys, I honestly, although they're the number 1 seed, I don't think they have that good of a roster. And it's just weird. Cade Cunningham, obviously all-NBA player. Jalen Duren, who was an all-star. Tobias Harris, Asar Thompson. Like their starting lineup is fine. Karis LeVert being your starting 2 guard. Not sure how I feel about that. They did trade for Kevin Huerter, though. Paul Reed and Isaiah Stewart I like a lot off the bench. And then Dennis Jenkins has really been a serviceable player. But to me, they need better guard play. And I like the fit of Isaiah Evans with the Detroit Pistons. Cameron Carr wouldn't be bad as well. Tunda Yosufu, I think he's going to go back to school. I don't even know why he's on this board still. But I've been reading that he's going to go back to school, so we'll see. I think he's probably going to enter the portal and go back to school. But Isaiah Evans, to me, obviously you get a winning player from Duke, of course. Isaiah Evans is a locked-in first-round pick to me. I don't know why they have him as a 30th overall prospect. To me, it'd be more like 20 to 25. I'm going Isaiah Evans to the Detroit Pistons. Now the Atlanta Hawks are on the board again. Of course, we drafted LeBaron Philon with the 6th pick. Now they're on the board again. I mean, guys, this roster is just so good. I think they could really go anywhere here. But maybe you don't see Onyeka Okongwu as a long-term fit. I personally do. I think Onyeka Okongwu is a really, really good player. I think you go ahead and bank on the upside of like a Karim Lopez. Jonathan Kuminga, guys, I think is a little bit overrated. I think a lot of people were expecting him to get traded from the Warriors and sort of be like this all-star level player. I think he's a little overrated, and I think Karim Lopez could be better than him. Honestly, Karim Lopez, I'm really, really high on Karim Lopez. I don't think he's going to go as high as I want him to. I think you can go ahead and bank on the upside of like a Karim Lopez to be better than a Jonathan Kuminga. I'm going to go Karim Lopez to the Atlanta Hawks because I think his potential, him still being on the board, I think his potential could really make this a really good pick with the 22nd overall pick. I'm going Karim Lopez to the Atlanta Hawks. With the 23rd overall pick, you have the 76ers, who have really been playing some really solid basketball. The 76ers, when they're healthy, I think is a really good team. Obviously, you got Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Quentin Grimes, Paul George, who's really been playing some solid basketball as of late. You got Joel Embiid, who, when healthy, to me is a top 10 player. But guys, trading Jared McCain, I feel like this should be probably a guard pick here. Thomas Howell still being on the board would be solid as well to pair up with the Joel Embiid. Maybe they get that true 4 spot solidified. And I'm going to go Thomas Howell to the Philadelphia 76ers with the 23rd overall pick. The Los Angeles Lakers, this is where Patrick Nongba gets off the board. He's still on the board. DeAndre Ayton, I think, has been better than a lot of people are giving him credit for. I think people kind of already have their minds made about DeAndre Ayton. I don't think he's been as bad as, some Lakers fans will go ahead and tell you. But I'm going to go with Patrick Nongba to the LA Lakers. I think he pretty much falls into their lap there. Now we have the New York Knicks. I think they have one of the better starting lineups in the league, in my opinion. You got Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, and Karl Anthony Towns. But maybe this is just like a bench scorer here. I think you got Miles McBride, who is really like their 6th man, who I like a lot in that role. You got Jose Alvarado. This is a good team. Mitchell Robinson to be your backup big. This is a really good team here. I think you pretty much just go best player on the board here. And to me, that is Cameron Carr to the New York Knicks with the 25th overall pick. Now we got the Denver Nuggets. This is a team who I believe, when healthy, have a really solid starting 5. You got Jamal Murray. You got Christian Brown. The shooting guard spot really needs some work. I think Peyton Watson, Cam Johnson, and Nikola Jokic. But to me, if you can get a scorer like a Tyler Tanner off the bench, I really like this, honestly. I like the idea of Tyler Tanner coming off the bench for a team that really lacks depth and really lacks bench players. Tyler Tanner can sort of be like that microwave coming off the bench. I'm going Tyler Tanner to the Denver Nuggets with the 26th overall pick. Now we have my Boston Celtics still on the board. Traded for Nikola Vucevic. You got Myles Queta. I think a lot of people are expecting this to be center here. But to me, I think we need a little bit more guard play, honestly. I think Peyton Pritchard is the best contract in the NBA. But outside of, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, after that, the guard bench unit maybe needs a little bit of work there, just coming off the bench. Obviously, this is really just best player on the board because I think we're stacked at a lot of positions here. And I think a lot of you are expecting me to go center. Chris Sinac Jr. wouldn't be a bad pick here. But to me, guys, Christian Anderson still being on the board, why not just get better at guard play? I mean, we have Peyton Pritchard, who's one of the best bench scorers in the league, but why not get another guy just to, have on the roster? Let's get Christian Anderson on the team. I think Christian Anderson still being on the board is criminal, so I'm going to take the best player available. Now, with the 28th overall pick, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. I actually like their roster. Bones Hyland has really showed a lot, and a lot of people were ruling him out, saying he needs to go play in China. Some people were saying that stuff on Twitter. This is a good team, guys. Bones Hyland, Anthony Edwards, you got Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid. This is a really, really talented team. Of course, they traded for Ayo Dosunmu as well. I like the idea of Malik Thomas with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Malik Thomas, who played with Darius Acuff Jr. What a freshman class for that Arkansas team, guys. Malik Thomas and Darius Acuff. This guy right here plays like Luka Doncic, but I don't think he's a first rounder. I actually think he's going back to school. We got guys like Dash Daniels, who is the brother of Dyson Daniels, Andrei Stojakovic. He actually had a really solid tournament, but I don't think he's a first round pick. Jaden Bradley, of course, on that stacked Arizona team. But guys, Malik Thomas with the Minnesota Timberwolves, I like that fit a lot. Tunde Yosufu, if I'm not mistaken, is going back to school, so I'm not even sure why he's still on here. I think he entered the portal. But I'm going Malik Thomas to the Minnesota Timberwolves. With the 29th overall pick, the Cleveland Cavaliers, James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, Max Strus, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. You got guys like Jalen Tyson, who has really emerged as a really solid player coming out of Cal. Shout out to him. This is a team that can maybe use a little bit more front court depth here. So Chris Nack Jr. pretty much falls into the lap of the Cleveland Cavaliers. With the 30th overall pick, we have the Dallas Mavericks again, who earlier drafted Kingston Flemings with that 8th overall pick. I really like their front court depth, though, guys. You have Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively still. I think Derek Lively is still that franchise cornerstone piece and could be their starting center for the next few years. You got PJ Washington, Cooper Flagg at the 3. You got Chris Middleton. I think this could just be best player available pick here. But I want some shooting on this team. I'm drafting Milan out of Iowa State, guys. Milan is one of the best three-point shooters in this class, guys. I think he's a first rounder to me. I know they rank him as 48. To me, he's going to be a first-round pick alone just on how elite of a shooter he is. He's going to be the last pick of the first round, going to the Dallas Mavericks. Shout out to Milan. And that's my mock draft, first-round mock draft 1.0. Comment down below what you guys thought about this mock draft. What are things you would do differently, of course. I know a lot of you guys might not like that LeBaron Philon pick, but hey, I almost chose LeBaron Philon over Darius Acup, but I know a lot of you guys would be in an uproar over that. But yeah, guys, that's my mock draft. Let me know what you guys think about it down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.